Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the South Bay Syndicate. Thanks for joining us today for a special Planetary Qualifier recap video. Over the last month, we've been doing a lot of testing, a lot of planning for the Planetary Qualifier that happened yesterday in Pasadena. You can see from the screen there were 114 participants, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Planetary Qualifier to date for this set. It was taken down by Asabe Tarkentown. Yes, that is not one of the ones we've been testing, so no, we did not take it down. But we'll talk about our run, that deck, other decks we saw, and just what we thought of the event overall. And we'll start with the event itself was at Odyssey Games in Pasadena. Amazing facility. If you're ever in the area, highly recommend you go in there to play games. They have all kinds of games. We go there for Star Wars. The Fallen Order team, who are an exceptional group of players, are based out of there. And then Justin, who runs the event, is amazing, and I just highly recommend people going by. I thought the event went great. They served lunch. It went smoothly. The rounds were tight, and the judging was they had enough judges to cover everything that came up. Just a great experience overall. For the South Bay Syndicate, we brought 14 people. We did pretty good. I think we had two in the top eight. We had, I think, a number of other in the top 32. Just a really good showing. A lot of diversity from our group and from the event overall. As we look at what it looked like, here is the breakdown of leaders that were brought to the event. Han Shadow was the number one leader, followed by Yoda, Piett, and Vader. As we look deeper into the bases, it was actually Yoda Data Vault as the most popular, and then Han ECL into Piett Red, Vader, Han Blue, and so on. And so just pretty diverse, I think, set. Not surprising when you think about the top ones here. And this grouping of leaders is kind of how I landed on my decision. I ended up bringing Piett. I thought that it could be competitive in this space, and no matter what matchup you ran into, you would have a chance. Some of them are 50-50, and with the right draw, the right lines, I think you can get there. And as we look at the breakdown of how it worked out, you can see here the winner was Sabe Tarkentown. Great deck as we got to watch it get played a bit. Really enjoyed what they were doing. They had great command of the deck and how to use it in each matchup. I think you can see from the results that really paid off. One thing you might notice here is there is an SBS matchup in the top eight. That is me on Piett. I did make it into the top eight. And then here is the Gar Saxon from my teammate. Not only my teammate, but also my son. So congratulations to him on making the top eight. Unfortunate that we ended up battling against each other, but I did want to show you guys a little bit of what that looked like. Here we are going into our top eight battle. Could not be prouder of him. He played great with Gar. Exciting to see. And here we are in our matchup. I did get the first game. He got the next two, and then he fell to the Sabe, which I think is a pretty poor matchup, and ended up third overall, which is amazing showing. Really proud of him. We each got a Carbonite box for it. I wanted to show you guys some of our hits from there. We did get Sabe, amazing. So I pulled the Sabe in my Carbonite deck as he was losing to Sabe, so I had mixed feelings, but excited to try it out. He in his box pulled this beautiful serialized Sonara-san and a DJ showcase. So some nice pulls from us. Nice run for the family overall. Could not be happier with how that went. So let's talk about our deck, what I ended up bringing, and the matchups I ran into. Here's the deck. You've seen versions of it for me. I ended up running a 52 card deck to fit in the third planetary bombardment, which I think was a good decision. You're never mad when you see all of those planetary bombardments. Some of the things I thought that were important in the deck that I went back and forth on, the ability to draw additional ships for this 2 cost. Just amazing card. Prepare for takeoff. I felt like I use it sometimes on turn 1 when I need to fill out my hand. Mid game, maybe I needed another big ship, and this helped me find it. One of the things that I didn't see a lot of value out of, which could have just been the games I played or the draws I had, but the Gonk Droid here, I didn't really utilize it. It actually just became something that I was hoping people would attack instead of my base to stall out a little bit, to get to my bigger units, to go wide in space and finish people off. And so those are some of the things. And I think about my sideboard here. I didn't really run into hard control or space aggro throughout the day. So the power failure to remove some of those pilots and attachments didn't come up much. Palp's Return never made it in. I had a Yoda Data Vault match where I brought in Relentless and the other ships. Also, the Arquintus Assault ship came in handy in my Piett mirror. So I got to use some of the sideboard, but I didn't use others just because of matchups. And on my run overall, you can see here, when we come to these events in Southern California, there are two main teams we always run into, CBG and Fallen Order. And in my run, you can see I ran into a number of them, highly competitive teams. They send a lot of people to day 2 of Galactics last year, a lot of PQ champions from those teams, but also just a great group of passionate players. So if you ever get to go to a tournament where they're at, they're very friendly. You get to talk to them about the game. You can learn a lot from each other, and so it was fun matching up with them and getting to see different decks and talk through strategies on it. I did start with a Grand Moff Tarkin droid manufactory. Something I love to see. I've been testing different things like Rex with droid manufactory, my Mon Mothma video, to try and get the wide units, unity of purpose hit to take an opponent out. I think that favored me that I had done a lot of testing with it because I was able to control his board as he went wide. He was doing a lot of interesting things in both space and ground, ability to build off of units and bring other units back as they die. A really fun deck to watch, but fortunately for me, I was able to ramp up, hit an overwhelming barrage, hit a turbo laser salvo, clear his board so he never got to purpose, and was able to take that matchup. In matchup 2, against one of our locals, Levi, he brought Piett as well. It was our mirror. The Arquintus Assault ship came in handy. I brought that in, was able to take out some of his ships, resource faster, and kind of get over the top of him. He also had a great run. He was at 5-1 and just missed out on the top 8 after losing, I think, in that final matchup. And then had a Anakin Data Vault match. Game 1, he got General's Blade on Gunju right away to put a lot of pressure, not only on my base, but be able to bring out bigger units to combat what I'm trying to do. And was able to take game 1, and then I was able to battle back in games 2 and 3, control the board a little bit more. It was also a good learning game for me. There was a situation where he had a pretty wide board. I had a Devastator out and a Planetary Bombardment in hand, and trying to understand the math of if I could clear the board, how I could get in front of him. Gave me a minute to kind of think about that. It didn't work out for game 1, but I think it helped me in games 2 and 3. And I went into my next matchup with the Han Solo ECL with a Fallen Order. This matchup was, I think he and I talked a bit about it afterwards. It feels like a 50-50 match. Whoever gets the right draw can really dominate the game. I got the right draw in these matchups and was able to get a lot of pressure on base and control what he was doing a little bit so that I could take the victory. He actually ended up making top 8 as well. And in that matchup, I thought I learned a little bit more about Piett's greed. You can definitely get overly greedy with Piett, and it almost cost me a match here. And he was nice enough to talk through it with me afterwards on the lines we were taking, and figuring out like where it could have gone wrong. In this case, it did not, but it was definitely a time when I could have hit base and instead I used Planetary Overwhelming Barrage to try and clear the board more, because I was worried about aggressive negotiation or something like that to finish me. And I think that's some trauma from the testing I've done against actually Han 2 Blue. They're not actually running aggressive negotiation a lot in Han 2 Green, and I should have taken a moment, slowed myself down, and thought about that more. But it ended up working out here. But it was just, I think it speaks to what this community is about. Yes, he and I are competitive and we're battling, but we're also able to take a moment to talk afterwards about what could have gone better, what worked and what didn't, and we're continuing to improve our games. And that's, can't say enough about the Fallen Order group, the CBG group. They're always willing to talk strategy and bring a lot of competitiveness to the game, but also a lot of fun. So I was able to take that one, and then I went into the next round against Crate Rider. He had just taken my son out, so I was looking for a little revenge. Also a great player. I believe he was a day 2 or day 3 at Galactic last year. He was on Yoda Data Vault. Game 1, I got the perfect draw. I had 2 Devastators, 2 Planetary Bombardments, was able to push a lot of damage to base before he could get too much healing going. Was able to take game 1. Game 2 was a lot more of a back and forth. He was starting to stabilize. He played a You're My Only Hope blind and hit a Luke, which was a great card for him at that moment. That's part of the deck. That's how it works, right? I was able to get another big unit with Restore on, and then I was not able to kind of recover. I didn't have the right pieces to remove it. Also, a game of sequencing on my ships. I could have possibly played a different ship in a different order, but was worried about cards in hand and out. I think I overthought it, and I should have thought maybe let's make him have it. But he took game two there. Game three, I think similar to game one, where I had the perfect hand. Game three, I had the worst hand. I didn't have a turn two, and then it was hard for me to catch up there. Is he that deck is very good and he's very strong, so he was able to take that one 2-1 in a very close matchup. We went into my next round, and I was in a position here where I was 4-1. I was the top 4-1. If I won this, I would be able to ID into the top eight. If I lost, I would be out of the top eight and wouldn't have a chance to get in. And so it was a big matchup. I sat down with one of the CBG guys. Is on Captain Phasma. He was a student, a college student on break. He hasn't gotten to play as much, but he knew all the cards very well, knew all the lines. I think he's going to be a very dangerous player for a long time. It was really fun to chat with him. The games themselves were very unfortunate. We had some horrible draws, and in a, in this kind of matchup where he wants to be aggressive and I'm okay kind of going longer, horrible draws favor me much more. And in both games, he did not have a turn one, so he mulliganed both times, never had a turn one. That's very hard for Phasma to come back from, and it was just unfortunate. I think you want a competitive game there, and you don't really want to see that happen. And that's how that one happened. And so I don't really know how that match could have gone on normal draws, but it just was, I guess, very in my favor on how the decks drew out, and it was very hard for him to put anything on the board, and he was behind from turn one. And so that just favored me, and I was able to move on to the next round where I did draw into the top eight. And then in the top eight, I met my son on his Gar Saxon. I was able to take game one. I had the right draws there. Game two, I didn't really get to any of my big ships. I didn't see them. And then game three, he just kind of controlled the board and was able to take me down. So really great run. I was very happy with it. I pulled that beautiful Sabe showcase in my Carbonite box, winning. So not a bad run. Picked up 15 points. Grabbed that. Got to see my son run to a top four finish. And in his Carbonite box, I think we showed these a little bit, but he did get this wonderful serialized card and this DJ showcase. So pretty great box for him, actually. And a lot of fun overall. Uh, the tournament, like I said, was amazing to attend. Really well done. I think the people in the Star Wars community are always fun to interact with. Our team overall had a lot of fun, and my son and I both hit our first top eights, and then we're gonna look to build from there. Hope all of your PQs are going well, and you're enjoying what we're putting out there. We're gonna do some testing, I think, coming up as we look at the winner. This Sabe Target Town took it down. Very interesting deck, similar to I think some of the Han 4 Target Towns we've seen in the past, utilizing Sabe's ability in this case to disrupt their card flow, their cards in hand, some Saboteur with BD, some tapping with Leia, getting wide early in both ground and space with the small space units, and Faith in Your Friends, and they're just able to put a lot of pressure quickly. So very well done by the winner here. A lot of the top eight, as we look at it, was very diverse, which is awesome. And then we were able to watch a lot of these matchups and just a lot of great gameplay. So thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you.